Hello, and welcome to the Cup TV, where you be with the real and the tea in reality, and where you can always come here first to quench your reality thirst. I'm your girl Lana, your resident diva, and I'm here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I love me some tea. Purr. And if you have some tea, you know what to do. Hit me up. I was drinking water, but I drank it all, so I have nothing. But if I was drinking anything in particular, I would probably be drinking it in my cup mug because da 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 cup
Cup
mug da
mug.
da 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 cup mug da 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 da. Because all the cool kids have one, and you should get you one too. Because period. And you can get that cup mug at lanajscreations.etsy.com, and we do ship internationally, so no, there are no excuses. I'm looking at you, wrestling universe. I'm looking at all of you, the
Mhm.
entire wrestling universe. You can get your cup mug.
Yeah,
Period.
I mean, let's be honest, Lana. If you can afford that $500 ticket to WrestleMania, you can afford a cup, right? That's
Period.
what I heard. That's what I heard.
The
That
cup mug is very affordable.
True.
truly.
And you know what else? It's Wes. I'm here. Extra content, and I'm here. So that's kind of crazy, right? So I'm very excited to talk about some belts. Very
Eight.
excited to talk about some wrestling and drinking some coffee. So I'm wired, baby.
Eight? Just eight? And it's the number spelling too. It's just eight. Please tell me someone else sees that on their screen. It's not just me.
Nope, it's there.
Icon. Uh, Regardless, it's Brooke, and I'm salty today because my family brought me some saltwater taffy, and I'm very happy about it. Um, and as you can clearly see by the header, I heart belts, and I'm so excited for this topic today because we literally came up with this last night, and we're like, why don't we get an extra video pushed out this month? And it was just top 10 belts. Awesome, top 10 belts. So,
Oh, we're doing these extra content things because I enjoy them. Even though I enjoy our pay per view talk or premium with a live event conversations, I do enjoy this extra content stuff. So I love our top tens. I love our greatest of all times of things. And today is our belt edition. And we all came up with our top tens of the greatest belts of all times that we think is the greatest. And yeah, we gonna jump right into it because honestly, this is what we're here for. This
it was complete open season. We could pick anything from everyone, or at least two of us picked everything from anyone we wanted, and then somebody thought it was
Yeah.
WWE exclusive.
I'm gonna talk about it. So I'm gonna talk about it. Here's the thing. All right, I was quickly given the prompt the day before, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do this one. This sounds fantastic. It sounds fantastic. I have great ideas for this. I have a lot of belts in WWE that I enjoy. I pumped out 10 of them, and then I forgot it's on the list. But who cares? You know, that's whatever. But I did not know that I could have chosen any belt from any brand, or I would have had a couple extras. I won't talk about them, but you know what? WWE had 10 good enough belts, so there you go.
Mhm.
We'll talk about it.
I don't know if we specifically specified if it was just WWE, but it
No, it
didn't
was my
have to be.
bad. It was my
And,
bad.
and no, but and I think we might have because Wes knows me. I'm a WWE girl. And that's all I
Mhm.
do. I don't do nobody else. I don't watch nobody else. And so maybe, but it's okay. Now we know for future stuff, unless it's specified WWE only. But for this, we just did it. But this is our belts edition, top 10, and we do have our honorable mention, so we're going to get into that first. We have our honorable mentions. And Wes and Brooke decided to pick the same honorable mention. So I just put them together.
And in case you are not able to tell just by looking at it, this is the Daniel Bryan Planet Champion Eco Hemp Belt. that he carried when he was calling all the fans fickle when he was a heel before Kofi Mania. Um, this is my favorite WWE title belt redesign, like champion specific title belt redesign ever. Um, it's just so stupid, but I love it so much.
Listen, I have to admit, it's one of mine too. And also, by the way, just for the viewer to know, we all did this completely double blind. So,
Mm-hmm.
but coincidentally, I think me and Brooke enjoy it for very similar reasons. The belt's very funny, and I have to say, changing the belt and getting rid of the glory, making it a friendly piece of paper, um, gave as much heat to Daniel Bryan. I mean, as great as his promos were too. I just think him changing the belt in this way was fantastic. Yes, the belt kind of looks terrible to me, but that's kind of the point. And so that's why it had to be an honorable mention. I wouldn't actually put it on like the 10 most beautiful belts, but man, did it do something. It evoked emotion. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
And for me, the thing that I really like about it, I really love the sapphire crystals at the bottom for the WWE under the WWE logo. It gives it a splash of color instead of it just being wood across the entire thing with the hemp on the back. And also, you could tell whoever made this belt, even if they weren't trying to design it to make it gorgeous and beautiful, they thought it out well. They thought, okay, vegan character is going to think what part of this belt is offensive, and they got rid of anything that could be even remotely like turned upon.
Yep.
And they made a belt that I mean I feel like fans just remember and will remember for a long time. So yeah.
I will say it is a memorable belt. And you said it evokes emotion. It evokes emotion in me as well. Total disdain. I cannot
Yes,
stand this belt.
exactly.
That's all it was.
Yes.
Exactly. And so for that, I will say it is memorable because I detest this belt. I cannot stand it. And I think you fell on either side of the coin with it. Either you hated it or you loved it. There was no in between with this belt. And for that I say it did its job, but I cannot stand this belt.
You know, it kind of reminds me of heel Daniel Bryan, which is either you hate to love it or you love to hate it.
True. Facts. Very true. This belt was very, very much Daniel Bryan in a nutshell. And I can respect it. I might not like to look at it, but I can respect it. Therefore, I'm taking it off my screen right now because I don't want to look at it anymore. This is my honorable mention. The United States Championship belt with the eagle on it. I thought this one was one of the better ones. They have different types of United States Championship belts. I thought this was a good one. The eagle made me feel all patriotic, I guess, in my moment. I guess for a moment I was like USA, US, but I don't say that often. But yeah, but in this moment I felt it. I like the look of this belt. I like it's very clean. I like the lines of it, and then the eagle in the front just screamed what it was: United States Championship belt. I liked it.
Yep. And you know what? It wasn't on my list. I can just spoilers for that, but I can say you can't say this belt doesn't look good. You know, it's elegant. It looks very nice, very clean. And so I give it mad props. So I think it's a great honorable mention.
Yeah, for me, this was actually my number 12. It came down between this and the hemp belt. And in my mind, I was like, somebody's going to pick the US title. Let me pick the hemp belt. And obviously, technically, one of that thought was correct. I just didn't think anybody else was going to pick the hemp belt. But no, I love this redesign. We forget we had that US title design from the time the belt got brought back in 2003, the old one, up until like, I think it was 2020 or 2019 when they redesigned it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this modern redesign is easily better than the modern redesign of the IC title.
Yep.
And I just love this belt. It's really pretty.
That's really good. Let's get into our number 10. So the order is going to go Brooke, then West, then myself. So we'll start with Brooke's number 10. Brooke, would you like to introduce your number 10?
So I would like to say this belt, before I introduce it, is a very polarizing title belt. And quite frankly, if I was going to be honest about my feelings of it, it'd be about number 6 or number 7. However, if I were to put it in that slot, I feel like I would be yelled at for the rest of eternity. So what I'm going to say is this. This belt was introduced in 2008. The first champion was Michelle McCool. And if you haven't gathered this, it is the Divas Championship, a.k.a. the Butterfly Belt, a.k.a., and I quote here, the Barbie accessory. I don't care. I don't care if people don't like this belt. I love this belt. Because, okay, the women's championship that was around at the time was the oval with the red logo and all that mess, right? That belt is fine, okay? I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's a belt, right? It just was so nondescript, right? And I think that was the problem you have with a lot of the belts is it kind of just looked like the IC title with a different coat of paint on it. This, on the other hand, it is, granted, it is a little bit sexist, kind of, this much. But honestly, I don't really get that from it. I think it's really just a cool belt design. The only belt that has ever had this unique plate, I'm pretty sure. I will say the pink aesthetic is a little bit but it does fit the color palette of the Divas logo that was going around at the time when the belt got introduced. We didn't have it for too long. I think a lot of people like to over dramatize how bad this belt actually was. Lots of really great people held this title belt. Shouts to AJ Lee, Caitlyn, Melina, Michelle McCool, etc. I love this belt. I love this belt a lot, and I'm happy I got to bring it up.
All right. Well, we're going to move on for a reason, and you all will see the reasons later. We'll move on to Wes's number 10. And Wes, would you like to introduce your number?
Yeah, sure. So, as you saw, Lana had, I think, one of her favorites or her favorite U.S. title belt as her honorable mention. And you know what? I did not have that U.S. title belt because I had a different one. And that one's coming up here. And that is the 2003 U.S. title. So I was looking through and, I also enjoy a good patriotic moment here and there. And to me, I enjoy the eagle, I enjoy the gold. But I'm also a huge fan of copper, just as a metal. Gold and silver we see all the time. So for me, like the U.S. flag draped in copper just has a very iconic look. And the belt shape is kind of cool. And so it's my number 10. It's not, very, very high up in there, but it's still, in my opinion, a really, really cool belt. And I wish the U.S. Championship would just kind of be very, very different. And that was my favorite thing about this belt. It was very different.
Lovely.
I love this belt.
I love
this belt so much.
This is a good belt. So for me, my number 10 belt is the the modern championship belt. I'll say that. It's the belt that is now the unified,
universal,
unified, all of that heavyweight champ. It's the modern one, the one right now. I was like, you know what? Thank you. Because the red and the blue belts, sure. If we're going to have them together, this is what I want the belt to look like. And this is a great belt. The leather backing with the diamonds in the W, the red plate on. I just really like the look of it. It's sleek. It's cute. It does it for me. That's my favorite belt.
Oh, I completely agree.
When the belt got introduced, I remember a lot of people were not happy with it. But I was like, y'all hated the Universal title. What do you want? This belt is great. Gets rid of that ugly red strap. Streamlines the design of the W. I love it a lot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at the very least, you have to love this belt for what it did. It took us from one place to another place. And that place is way better. Listen, they say sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side. In this case, it was. It was. I don't want to hear anything else.
It was good. Moving on to our number 9. Brooke, you are up again.
All right. So my number 9 is arguably the most classic title in the history of professional wrestling. A lot of people, when you think champion, this is the belt you imagine. Came to us courtesy of WCW, but it's lived on in WWE for many a year. Of course, I'm talking about the big gold belt, aka the World Heavyweight Championship, aka the WCW Championship, etc., etc. Tons of people held this belt: Ric Flair, Triple H, Goldberg, Edge, many times. This was the top prize on SmackDown for years. And truly, this is one of my favorite belts of all time. And I'm really, it's just so pretty. I love how detailed it is with how simple it is too. Because the actual belt design is kind of normal, but the detailing on the front plate is just insane to me.
Yeah.
I also love the crown above the globe in the middle. 10 out of 10.
Yep. It's a great belt.
It is a great belt. I can't deny it's a really good belt. It's a really good belt. Oh, Lord West, I'm sorry. I hit the button too
No,
soon.
listen. I'll just start right off the bat with it, which is this was when the
Mhm.
Universal tag team, 2010, 2015 Shield era kind of belt. Um, I think it looks amazing. Remember how I talked about copper? And I really
Mhm.
like copper. Here it is again. Huge fan. I enjoy belts after it. I enjoy belts before it, but I enjoyed that this was a market difference because I really enjoy when your midweight belts or your tag belts don't try to be just a knockoff version of the championship belts. If I see a knockoff heavyweight championship belt and it's a tag belt, it's like, is that really that different? Is that cool? I thought this one was very different, very cool. I enjoyed the kind of Roman aesthetic. Very
Uh,
cool belt, in my opinion.
I did not remember this belt when you sent it. And I was like, oh, this is actually a really cool belt. I love the Trojan Roman soldiers on the belts, and then the two on the front plate being back, back head to head, back to back, or whatever. That's actually a really cool belt. Did not remember this belt, but it's a cool belt.
See, the fun thing about it is if you look at the tag belts we have right now, they're on SmackDown belts. They still have that aesthetic. It's just silver with an ugly colored strap, and which is unfortunate. I actually prefer this belt to those belts. I'll be honest. I do like the SmackDown tag titles better because the blue strap looks better with the silver than the red does.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that okay, the raw shade of red. I just want to go ahead and get this out of the way. That should never be a strap for a title belt ever again. Never. Never. I don't think anybody else had this on their list. I really like this belt. It reminds me of like the Hart Dynasty and
Yeah,
like that kind of tag team era in WWE. Great belt.
great belt indeed. For me, my number 9 belt was the Divas belt because I agree with you, Brooke, when you said it. I was like, I didn't think this belt was that bad. Sure, it was. I mean, but at the time they called them divas anyway, so of course we needed a divas belt. And if I'm going to be called a diva, which I am, by the way, I'm your resident diva.
Work.
Just saying, this would be something I would want. I want something to be a little bit different, a little bit more sparkly, a little bit more, not like the boys' belts. I don't want my belt to look like the boys' belts. I want my belt to look like something I would want to wear. And sure, there's the whole thing of, well, they're superstars. They're just like, they're superstars just like God, which they are, which I agree with. Nothing wrong with that. But I don't know. I didn't find this belt incredibly sexist. I just felt that like maybe it was like to differentiate, and maybe they didn't want to be different from they wanted to be superstars, and I get it. But
Sure.
I in turn really actually liked this belt. I thought the design of the belt was cute. I sure it didn't have to be pink if some people don't like pink, but me personally would have liked it to be purple. But that's just me. That's just me. But I liked it. I liked the design. I thought it was cute.
Yep, I think it's
Well,
a good belt.
and again, it's definitely one of those things of from a 2023 lens, if this belt was around today, probably wouldn't work. But because
Right.
from 2008 until they dropped it at 32, that was just the division, right?
Right.
And I don't
Yeah.
have any problems with this belt. I really like this belt. I mentioned it earlier, but great belt.
I like this belt. We're moving on to our number 8. So,
All right. All right. So we are headed to NXT. I'm not even going to over dramatize it. This is the NXT Tag Team Championship, the current design, I might add. I also, to be clear, I love the 2013 to 2017 design as well. I think both of those belts are immaculate. However, I'm not going to lie, this one is probably better. Mainly because the other belts have that weird thing where like one side of it is like one color, and then on the other belt it's the opposite, which is kind of cool and weird, but it looks like a puzzle piece. Um, this one, on the other hand, it's just so streamlined. I love belts that look sleek and new and innovative and just have that kind of thing. It doesn't need to be overly detailed. It doesn't need to be ridiculously gorgeous or anything. It's just so, like, I feel like I could run my hand over it and it would just feel so smooth. And, I'd love tag team wrestling too. So just in general, the NXT tag belts, I adore these belts. And I hope they don't go away for a long time.
yeah, they're
Couldn't
great
agree
belts.
more.
Yeah, me too. They're great belts. And we'll see. I think we'll be seeing more of these belts further down some of these
Perhaps.
lists. Perhaps,
Perhaps.
so down this list. What?
Mayhaps.
Mayhaps. What about you? What is your
Yeah, okay. And yeah, NXT's great. We'll probably see some more NXT. But I got to move us in a different direction. And anyone who's watched on the main pod knows that one of my favorite wrestlers of all time is Dolph Ziggler, but also Cody Rhodes is one of my favorite wrestlers.
What?
And
I didn't know that.
I
No,
know.
You never talk
never.
about it.
So surprising. I never talk about Cody Rhodes. Well, this next belt coming up, which is the new coming in IC title belt in 2011, and then it was redesigned to its perfect form, in my opinion, in 2013. Fantastic belt. Of course, it was worn around my favorite wrestler at the time, which was Cody, even when he was just dashing and he was not a nightmare. Because this title belt was a dream come true for me. So I think it looks fantastic. I love the blue and the white and the gold. It also has like a little bit of a copperish undertone to it, which I appreciate. I think it's classic, and it's by far my favorite Intercontinental belt. No offense to the new one and the current one we have, but it's hard to beat that white strap.
We'll talk about it more later.
We will definitely talk about this belt later for sure.
If you don't like this, you don't like. No, I'm kidding.
You're
it's
not
fair.
a fan. If you
It's
don't
fair.
like this belt, you're not a fan of wrestling. I don't know what you are.
Yep, I will go and gatekeep and girl boss right now. Let me tell you.
This is the belt I would agree to the gatekeeping for. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a great belt. It really is. It's one of my favorite belts. But not my favorite yet. Not on this next on the list. The next for me on my list is the $1,000,000 belt, because this belt really didn't mean anything. Didn't really have any weight behind it in the WWE. Like nobody was really getting, championship champ. But this belt, who only but the $1,000,000 Man can create their very own belt and say, compete for this. And people did it. It's just a great belt. Dollar signs, diamonds, gold. You can't beat it. It's just a great belt.
It is.
I'll
It
be
is.
100% honest here. This is the one belt I forgot about when I was making my list. Well, one of two. We'll get to the other one later that I know for a fact I forgot about that I'm mad about. I don't know if any of you guys ever read Ted DiBiase's autobiography from like ages ago. But he talked about how much this belt meant to him. And knowing that, plus I just love this belt. It's so classy and also snobby at the same time. I love it. I love it.
It's just
Also,
such a
fun fact, there are 3 actual diamonds in the back of the belt on like behind the plate. So that way if somebody asked Ted if the diamonds in the belt were real, he didn't have to lie.
Another fun fact. I actually went to my best friend was at a camp, worked at a camp that would travel around, and she would do this camp. And I went to visit her for a couple of days. Ted DiBiase's youngest son was at this camp. And he was such a sweet. I didn't know at the time that he was Ted DiBiase until actually I left. But he was such a little sweetheart, little bad little rascal, but sweetheart still. And he just clung to me for some reason while the couple of days that I was there. And he was just like a doll. And I was like, this is my favorite little boy. And da da da. He was so sweet. But I'm going to tell you, DiBiase's youngest son, and did not know it was his son. But there we go. There's my little claim to fame moment. Sure. But yeah, love this belt. Love this belt.
Long story short, Ted DiBiase is amazing.
Amazing. Period.
Amazing.
Number 7, Brooke.
Okay, so I know the general opinion of Impact Wrestling on this panel. Okay, it is typically or bleh or whatever. I disagree, and I'm aware that I am in the minority on this. However, even you all have to admit the current design of the Impact X Division Championship is gorgeous. Okay, so the X Division title, we talked about the X Division in our top 10 matches list a little bit. Personally, the X Division is basically what has kept TNA afloat for 1,000 episodes. They just had 1,000 episodes last week. And This belt is the current design of the X Division Championship. They've had a couple other ones that were really close. I really love the blue and the green design, but the red just hits on this belt. It reminds me of like the Ultimate X cables. Love that. And also it's just so unique looking. I don't know any belt in wrestling that looks like the X Division Championship, and I love that 2 pieces. Yeah, so love this belt, and I love the X Division, and I love Impact.
Yep. You know what? I will not slander Impact. I will say it doesn't have much impact upon my life, but for the people who watch it and enjoy it, I guarantee you it's fine, and I can tell it's fine because of how good this belt looks. This belt
Mhm.
looks fantastic. I've never seen it before, but this belt looks fantastic.
Note to self: make West watch Impact X Division matches. Got it. Note to
There
self.
we go.
This belt is actually beautiful. I can't knock it. This is a great belt. If I saw somebody walking around with this belt, I'm like, that's kind of cool. That's a cool belt. I think the red. I think it's the red that pops. Like you said, they had blue and green.
Better than Raw Red.
Yeah, definitely better than red. But this
Well,
just
it's also not the strap, right?
right,
It's not the color of everything. It's a detailed color. It is not red the belt.
which they don't need to do. I think Raw definitely needs to not make the strap red. Like they can do
Exactly.
details in red, but not the strap. But yeah,
Mhm.
this is actually cool. It pops. It looks good. Good choice, Brooke. Good
Thank
choice.
you.
What's next?
Yep. Well, long story short, when I was making this list, I wanted to make sure I covered all my bases. And so, not going with belts that I was alive for and watching wrestling for, I saw a couple really cool ones, and this one made my next slot, which was the 2002 Universal. This belt looks so classic. It looks so nice. And I wish it was around today because it, to me, is one of the best. I think black and gold is just so wrestling. Even look at the WWE Universal Undisputed Championship today, and it's black and gold with diamonds. This is kind of close to that, and it looks fantastic.
I
This belt
love
is. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I
Sorry.
love those plates on each side of that. This is a that's a good belt. I'm because I made sure not to like study these belts when I was making this live show because I want to get my full reactions to these for real,
Mhm.
true reactions. This is a beautiful belt. Like this is a beautiful belt. They need to bring that back because
I'm with you.
that's stunning.
There is no greater injustice in the world to me than the fact that the Undisputed Championship was only around for like 3 years. That is depressing. This belt is gorgeous. Uh, Held by tons of really talented people. Chris Jericho, obviously, like the first one, but there have been dozens of people held, not dozens, a few people held this belt. I love it. Again, I love the sleek titles, and this belt is just so sleek. It's so nice to look at, and it's very eye catching. So yeah, love the Undisputed title.
Yeah, beautiful. My next belt. I kind of really do love this belt. I do love this belt. It's the NXT Women's Tag Team belt. We saw the NXT other men's tag team belt from Brooke. I like the women's because the white just stood out to me. I do like a white strap. I don't like a red strap, but I do like a white strap. And this just looks really good with this black and this gold in this. It's the same sleek design as the men's belt, but in this white, it just does something for me. I just kind of love it. It's just a great belt. That's it.
I also
NXT
love this
knows how to
belt.
make belts, right?
Yeah, they do.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes,
they
they
do.
do.
We'll also probably be talking about this belt later. I just have this weird gut feeling, but
Perhaps, yeah.
yeah, just it's just a gut feeling. But I love this belt too.
Yeah, fantastic belt. Now for my belt coming up here, I have to talk about one of my favorite belts of all time, the first inaugural Universal Championship belt. No, I'm kidding. Um,
Not the
no,
okay.
no.
Also, is this video just gonna be us clowning on the Universal title the entire time?
I mean, how can you not?
It's very
No.
fair.
We've already seen this belt once, and we're gonna see it again because I think it's an absolutely fantastic belt, and it goes way too hard.
So true.
Genuinely too hard.
This belt being around for 2 years is disgraceful,
I
and
agree.
only 2 years, disgraceful. This belt is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous belt. We're at number 6.
Mhm.
And
All
Brooke.
right. So number 6, technically it's like a combination of a few belts. I did kind of cheat a smidge here, but it is the modern design for the WWE and WWE Women's Championships.
White
You could
strap.
also white strap. Who'd have thunk? Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the women's has the white strap, the men's has the black strap. No problem. I think they both look good with either strap here.
Yes.
That gold and the white, it just okay. This is again weird reference. It's giving me white chocolate Lindor truffle, and I'm here for it.
Okay.
um, yeah, but they have that gold outer wrapping and then the white on the end. It's so good.
Yeah. Belt's pretty sweet. I get it.
Yeah, about exactly about sweet. It's not been around long, so maybe this is a smidge of recency bias, but like I don't know. It feels like just an overall improvement over the previous design in every way. Um, we've lost a lot of the clutter on the belt. It just feels again sleek.
Sleek.
Um, I like it when a belt is either detailed, but it doesn't look overly detailed, like the big gold belt, or it's just clean, no distractions, no nothing.
Yep.
And I also love the custom side plates because the custom side plates are one of my favorite things that WWE does for their wrestlers nowadays, anyway.
Agreed.
Agreed. Yeah, but see, here's the universal belt. Sorry, I skipped ahead a little bit, but you'll see the universal belt right here, the big red strap. No,
Don't do that to
I'm
me.
obviously kidding. I did not disgrace wrestling like that. No, we already talked about this belt. This belt's fantastic. As I said, it did too much, and it still does too much, and it will forever do too much because those diamonds are real, according to Ted. And listen, you can't. I mean, this belt is just. Lana, you've already had it on your list. I know you know, but I wasn't even around for this. And when I found this while I was doing my research, I was like, why? Why couldn't this have been around longer? Why couldn't I have not seen this belt? Because young me, would have been in shock and awe.
See, I'm surprised you don't remember this belt though, because when Ted DiBiase Jr. when Legacy broke up, right? Ted DiBiase Jr. was on SmackDown, right? And he had Maurice as his valet, and he was carrying around the $1 Million Championship.
Yeah.
That was like 2010, 2011. I'm so mad at myself for forgetting about this belt because it would have been on my list for sure. I don't know. I just love this belt. It's great.
Yep.
Me being the old broad here, I remember when this belt came out, and I loved it when it came out. It was so he was so snobby, so arrogant, so just ugh. And then they had the nerve, you had the audacity to create your own belt made of dollar signs and diamonds and crown people with it and be like, you want this belt, you want to fight for the like he made people fight for this belt. Like he gave it to Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now Stone Cold Steve Austin was the $1 Million Champion for a very long time, and it was, but like that wasn't even the first time this belt came out. It was just it it's just so good. It was so you love to hate Ted DiBiase. He was just that good of a villain, and that's the kind of heel you want in WWE. That's kind of heel you want in wrestling, period. It's like, yes, you're a villain. I'm supposed to hate you, and I do. And they love it, and they thrive off it. So good. Such a good belt. Such a good belt. But mine is I just went on to it because we've talked about it. My number 6 is the IC title with the white strap because I think this is just such a beautiful look. Like I said, I love something about a white strap on the belt with the gold and then that pop of blue. It's just a great belt. It's just a great belt. And some great people held this belt. I love it.
Just remember, if you are a wrestling fan, you also like this belt.
You have to.
Can we I'll do a collective thank you, Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
Thank you, Cody Rhodes.
Thank you,
Cody.
Thank you, Cody. Yeah, again, we'll be talking about this belt later. A little bit more.
We do talk about it. But number 5, Brooke.
All right, we've already discussed it once. I'm not going to give it a build up. It is the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship. Again, it is literally just the men's belts with a white strap, but the white strap just looks so good on this belt.
Good.
I don't know what it is. do we all just unanimously agree that white straps on title belts just looks fantastic?
Yes.
They look great.
Yes.
If there's something about and you can say black and gold is great, and I think black and gold is really
Black
great.
Rose is amazing.
But there is something special about white and gold.
With the
I
little
mean,
with the trims of black, with it's so good.
it's the white and the gold and the trims of black and little trims of the silver. Like, this is one of those belts that if they took it a little bit further, it could have been doing too much.
Yep.
But they stopped at the exact right point, kept that sleek, smooth, beautiful center plate. I love the side plates as well. I like the pointiness on the ends of the side plates, like make it
Of
like,
course. And
here
also,
comes the rest of the belt.
shout out to like the square grid of gold in the middle, and then the grids of silver on the sides.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
really great, really
Yeah.
great.
And also shout outs to the very few teams that got the chance to wear these belts. You are some of the luckiest women I have ever met in my life. Caden Carter, Katana Chance, Isla Dawn Applefire, Candice LeRae, and Indy Hartwell, etc. All of you, congratulations on getting to hold these gorgeous titles.
They're great. Wes?
Absolutely. Well, we have a theme here with NXT, and so we're gonna keep that. We're gonna keep moving through. This belt, I love the NXT 1.0 belts.
Yes.
But the second edition NXT belts are. What is this?
That
was the first words when I saw this belt. I was like, wait, what is this? And then I'm like, and why do I love it so much? Because it takes everything about blue and red and makes me happy. I didn't know I didn't think a multicolored belt would work exceptionally well. It does. The huge X, and I get it. W's are cool. Listen, my name's Wes. I like the letter W. It's dope. But there's something about an X in just any title belt that looks super sick. And I think this does a great job.
This is not on my list. I love this belt, and I didn't want to fill my list with just NXT titles, so I did make a few cuts here. This belt legitimately should not work. It, like, on a surface level, you say, oh, we're going to put red and blue and gold and black and silver, and we're going to shove it all together in this one package. It should not work. But they use that X almost like a divider, and they like section off the belts to make it look like the nexus point between the red and the blue, so that way it's like Raw and SmackDown, which it is. It's so brilliant.
It's so smart because it's like NXT is where you go to figure out if you're gonna go to either Raw or SmackDown.
It is such a nexus that Wade Barrett would be proud.
Yeah,
it's such a good one. Oh, I love it.
Adding on to that, though, you also have the side plates, which are arrows, which makes sense.
Because they could go.
My only nitpick, and this is such a tiny nitpick, but I wish the side plate arrow on the left was red.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, if that side was red and that side was blue, that would have just been like, yep. Yeah. Oh, yep.
But outside of that, this belt is immaculate. I love it.
It is. It's so good.
Can we also talk about, before we move on, that the WWE in that like diamond shape at the top as well, the WWE logo and like that crown? That's so good.
You did a good one, Wes. This was a good one. When I saw it, I was like, oh yes. That's such a good belt. That's a good belt. I didn't put it on my list either, but it's a good belt. For my number 5. I decided to go with the John Cena spinner belt. I felt like it would be wrong not to have the spinner belt on this list. People call it tacky. People say it was ugly and it was gaudy. I personally loved it. I loved everything about the spinner era. I even liked when Edge took it and put the rated R plate on it and spun it with his thing. I was like, it's something about the spinner era I love. But I have to pay homage to John Cena because he did it first, and I thought he did it well. He was one of the first people that had their own personal. Well, no, not one of the first, but it was just a good one. It was just a good belt. I loved it. He spun it, and I wanted that belt so bad. I wanted that belt. I was like, if I was going to spend my money on any belt, it would have been that belt just so I can just sit there and spin it all day. I just really love that belt. And I was very happy to see that I was the only one who put it on this list.
Also, shout outs to The Miz, who also had a custom version of this belt with the M instead of the W.
Yes.
Um, it's so stupid and such a tiny change that a lot of people don't even realize it happened. But I love
I
him for that so much.
I
Yep.
do.
And you know what, Lana, I will pass tacky. This is not a tacky belt. I will take gaudy. It's a little gaudy, but in a good way. In a way that makes you just look at it and go, I can't believe this has been done, and I can't hate it. There's no way I hate this belt.
If you listen to the wrestlers that were around during this time period talk about the spinner belt, they hate
They
this
hated
thing.
this belt.
And I'm like, yo, you know what? You know what this belt did? It sold a crap ton of merch.
Yeah,
So many people own this belt. I owned this belt when I was little. I had the plastic version. I bought at Kmart for $15. Like,
I
this
wanted
is
this
a
belt.
belt. This is like, well, Wes, we grew up on wrestling. This is our WWE championship.
Yep.
This is the belt I wanted. I was like, when I start making my own money, and I buy wrestling merch, the real stuff, like the big ones that they buy belts for $300 something. When I can
Yeah,
afford
like
to do that,
something on Etsy. Like you could buy a cup on Etsy at
like
limited
yeah, a
edition.
cup on Etsy is way cheaper than $347. But LanaG'sCreations.etsy.com. But if you wanted to, when I want to buy those like from WWE Shop and get the big 300, the real ones, the collectibles, this was the one I wanted. I was like, I want the spinner belt so I can have it and just put it like right over my door. And every morning when I walk out, I just spin it on my way out. That's what I wanted to do. I still might do that. I still might do that. But
Also, special shout out to the John Cena spinner US title that I know is not on
yes,
anyone's list. That belt is also great.
it's
Um,
also great, but I thought it was ugly.
is a little ugly.
I was a little ugly.
It did do the spinner first. Is
Yes,
my whole thing with it.
very
All right.
true.
So my number 4 is a belt that I know is not on either of your lists because you both just picked WWE belts. However, this in concept is my favorite belt that has ever existed. Like the idea of this belt is so creative. It is the Lucha Underground Gift of the Gods Championship. Now let me explain for those of you who are not familiar with Lucha Underground. So Lucha Underground was a indie promotion that ran for I think 4 years. Lots of big names came from there. Ricochet is from Lucha Underground. Rey Mysterio went to Lucha Underground for a little bit. John Morrison wrestled there. Tons of other people have wrestled in Lucha Underground. I'm not going to list them all. There's a lot. But this was like the promotion that happened between CM Punk leaving and AEW forming. It was Lucha Underground was like the third promotion in the US for a little bit. The Gift of the Gods Championship. Not only is this the most unique design of any belt I have ever seen, right? You see those little silver medallions in the middle? Those pop out. Those are not part of the belt. They get put into the belt. The way this belt works is there are 7 qualifying matches, and the winner of each of those matches obtains one of those little silver medallions. Then, once all 7 of the medallions have been handed out, they have to give their medallion in. The medallions then get put in the belt, and there is a 7-way match for the Gift of the Gods Championship. It's incredible, but that's not all. Because you're thinking, okay, that's awesome, that's dope, but it's fine, right? This belt then functions like a Money in the Bank briefcase, but it's a title belt. You can cash in this belt at any time, and when you do, the medallions get taken out, and then you have to qualify for the 7-way match again. This belt is brilliant. It is one of my favorite belts that has ever existed, and it's gorgeous, and I am so happy it exists. If you have not watched Lucha Underground, I highly recommend it because it is some incredible Lucha Libre action going on down there, and this is one of my favorite parts of the show.
Wow.
Wow. You just said a whole lot.
I had to.
And I'm trying to process this match and how this works, and then the whole cashing it in, like the money. And why would I cash it in if I already have it?
Because if you cash it, this isn't the world title. This is like their intercontinental.
Oh, This isn't even their championship belt.
No.
Oh,
All right, I
I'm
have one
so
gripe.
okay.
I have one major gripe, but this belt is really cool in theory.
It's
Here's my issue.
beautiful.
My issue is why on earth would I want the championship title when I can hold on to this icy title
Right.
equivalent? Oh my gosh, is this
It's
cool?
beautiful. Is the other belt more beautiful than this one?
No.
Well, then I'm not
100%.
changing it. I'm not
100%.
changing it
But
then.
100%. But the world championship is just so like central to the plot of Lucha Underground because Lucha Underground is almost like a wrestling telenovela. Um, it's kind of hard to articulate if you haven't watched it. But yeah, some incredible people have held this. Santos Escobar held this belt. Phoenix and AEW held this belt. They had a really good feud for it back in the day. Some other incredible talent have held this belt too. I love it. It's
It's a beautiful
fantastic.
belt. It's a
It's
beautiful
so
Also,
belt.
pretty.
the look of this belt is unreally cool.
It's unreal. If you're listening to this, I am sorry. Because if you have not seen it, you just need to come to our video and watch it because this belt is beautiful. I've never seen a belt look like this. This is when you sent this in, I was like, and you told me what it was, and I looked it up. I was like, wait, this can't be right. Is this the belt? That's beautiful.
Great. I
Beautiful.
love this belt.
Really
And I
cool
love
belt.
Lucha Underground. Please give it a shot if you can find it anywhere. It used to be on Netflix. It's not anymore, but go find it somewhere, please.
It's okay. We have a lot of swashbucklers here, I think.
Hmm.
So they'll find a way.
Right. Wes, what is your next one?
Yeah. So we were talking about the Daniel Bryan belt. We were talking about a bunch of different custom championship belts by custom champions. I was thinking of my favorite, and this is probably my favorite out of all of them. And that is the Stone Cold Steve Austin Smoking Gun Championship. Huge fan of this belt. I am not a huge Stone Cold guy. Although when the glass shatters, it is really cool. It just has been. It always will be. It is great. But this title is. I said I love black and gold. This is the best that black and gold has looked to me. It is so cool. It's one of the only belts where I go, this isn't just regal, this isn't just cool, it's badass. And that's what I want in a belt, is I want a belt to be kind of badass, and that's what this is.
Yeah.
I will also articulate. I did not put this on my list, mainly because one, when I think about it, I do love the Smoking Skull belt. I think this belt is great, but I just didn't grow up with it, so I don't have the same nostalgia factor that a lot of people do. Um, and it also reminds me a lot of like the Brahma Bull belt that The Rock had at that one point.
Oh,
They're both great. Love them both. But this belt is fantastic. Only gripe is it doesn't look very like championship. It looks kind of dingy, but I guess that does make sense of Stone Cold's character. So fair enough.
great belt. I'll talk about it later because it
As you
is
should.
on my, and I will just put that out there. It's on my list, but it's not next because for me, coming up is the women's championship belt, the modern era. What Brooke already talked about it. I just like the way it looks. It's the white stripe strap for me. It's the red with the white with the it's. We've already talked about it. It's beautiful. I love it. We love it. It's a great belt.
Yep.
Mhm. I love
Yeah,
this belt too.
it's
It
such a
is a
great belt.
fantastic
It's a
belt.
fantastic belt.
Mhm.
I don't want to keep talking about it because we talked about it before. But it looks good. And when the women were carrying it, I'm like, yes, it just looks good. It looks good on them. So we're to our top three.
We are.
Brooke, you are up.
Okay, so this is the last time I'm leaving the WWE. I promise. Okay. But I will say this. I actually was not super familiar with this belt until I was looking up other belts because I didn't want to leave anything out. I wanted to make sure if there was a belt that I saw that was like so impactful that I wanted to add it, I would put it on here. And in that research, I stumbled upon, in my opinion, perhaps the most gorgeous title belt I have ever seen in my life. However, because I have not been around for any of the matches for it, I did not put it at number one. I put it at number three, which I felt was fair. And that is the 2017 to 2022 design of the Ring of Honor World Championship. Dear God, this belt is pretty. Um, it's almost like a simplified version of the big gold belt to me, without that big center plate, which has always been my least favorite part of the big gold belt. I'll be honest. Um, it's so new because the Ring of Honor belts historically not the prettiest. I'll be honest. They kind of look scrunched or stretched. this one is perfect. Lots of really cool detailing on the sides. The red gem lines on the outer edges are so pretty. I love the like half oval side plates here. That black and gold detailing on the middle of the belt is so pretty. Love the silver lettering, the black strap. This is my favorite black strap title I've ever seen. Um, I love this title so much.
Yep, and this actually was one of the titles that I had considered, but then I went, oh well, we're doing WWE. Maybe if we do other promotions at some point, I'll give it an honorable mention. Well, thankfully, Brooke already had me there. Thankfully, this definitely got in. It definitely deserved it. It reminds me a whole lot of the WWF Undisputed 2002 belt, and a lot of the reasons why I like it. I like black.
Mhm.
I like gold. I like really ornate designs. The gemstones are fantastic, and the ROH being the only silver piece, like amongst a myriad of gold, really makes it pop, but in like an undertoned way instead of being too bold. I think it looks really sleek.
Yeah, this is a belt I'd never seen because I don't watch Ring of Honor, and so when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, this is a beautiful belt. This is actually really, really pretty." And I feel like Ring of Honor has the best logo with the ROH on it and how they put it together. So it's sitting in that on the side plate in the black, and then right in the middle in the oval shape of that. It's just a pretty belt. It's just a pretty belt. I can't even lie. I can't deny. It's a pretty belt. I like it. I really
And
do.
it somehow is detailed and sleek. Like I don't know
Hmm.
how they accomplished that, but again, it feels like you could run your hand over it and it just would be so smooth. But at the same time, there's a lot of detailing here. There's a lot of gems, a lot of really pretty things that elevate the title. There's nothing wrong with this belt. I can't fault it in any way.
What I think I like about it, the more I stare at it, is the fact that you can like they got spaces where you can see the leather through the gold on the big plate. So it's not like unlike the big gold belt where it's just that plate. You can see they got like it's like stencils, like little places where you see
Mhm.
the black leather in between the world champion and all around the leather, that plate. I kind of like that. That kind of gives it another little level of just coolness. It's really cool. Really a
So
cute
pretty.
belt. So pretty. I agree. Wes, what is your number three belt
Yep.
of all
So
time?
for my number three and my next couple, I'll save my number one. But for the next couple, it had to be a belt that really mattered to me personally, and it mattered as like a really beautiful and really important belt. And we've talked about this belt before, and I will defend it to my dying breath. And that is the 2013 Divas Championship belt. I like it more than the original iteration. I think this is my favorite iteration, but that's because I'm an AJ Lee simp. Um,
Mm.
I think she's one of the best women's wrestlers to ever exist. And, putting aside the sexism part, which to me, I think that was WWE management back in 2013. I don't think the belt did something wrong. I think how it was managed and the word they chose was something a little wrong. But the belt did nothing wrong. The
No.
belt is beautiful. The belt is feminine, and that femininity is powerful,
Yes.
and you don't need to fake masculinity to make a cool belt. You can have a belt that's entirely feminine and entirely cool and entirely awesome. And 13-year-old me knew that when they saw this belt. This belt was super sick. It was worn around by really cool people doing really cool stuff. Caitlyn, AJ Lee already talked about. And you can have your own gripes and issues with the titles and monikers they had to deal with at the time, but the belt is just stunning, and I think it conveys more of what a really cool women's wrestler with its theme and art, not maybe the word, but the theme and art, than we've ever gotten, in my opinion, since it.
Well said, sir. Because femininity is strong, and you can be feminine and strong at the same time. And we all know that, and I'm going to say it because I'm biased, but women are strong, and we can be. We are not masculine. We are not the same. Like we don't have to be the same. We don't have to have masculine
Yep.
looking things
Yep.
to say that we're strong. We can still be ourselves, still be feminine, still
The
be cute, but still be strong because we are the strongest people. We the ones who bring life into this world. You can't get no stronger than that. I don't care what color you put on the belt and what design you put. I don't even care what label you put on the belt. We are divas. We are all of that, but we are strong and powerful and all of that. So I love this belt too. I'm glad you put it this far down on the list. It's great. Love this belt. My belt, we talked about it, but it is the Stone Cold Steve Austin belt because I did have the honor of just being here when this belt was there, and it strikes a chord in my soul. I am a Stone Cold person. I'm a Stone Cold gal. I loved Stone Cold Steve Austin. When he first got there, I was like, "Who is this dude?" But then when he turned into and gave us Stone Cold Steve Austin, I was hooked, line, sinker, fan. I think he was one of the first T-shirts that I bought. That of merch. He was the first T-shirt merch that I bought, and it was like had to have my Austin 316 shirt, had to have my DX shirt, and had to have. I think it was just my NWO shirt. Those are three shirts that I had: NWO, Austin, and DX. And this belt was bona fide Stone Cold. So badass, so good. It was just like when he had it and then the glass shattered and he came out with it, it just made sense. It just made sense. And then the detail of the smoking coming out the eyes, smoking coming out the eyes of the skull, it was so good. I love this belt. I will forever love this belt. It holds a special place. And I think this one is better for me than even the Brahma Bull belt because I felt like the Brahma Bull belt was a little too, I don't know, it was cheesy. A little it didn't give me the same badass like Stone
Fair.
Cold's belt. Like Rock's was good, but it just didn't innate that what I wanted from it. But this one, they hit it the nail on the head. It was such a good belt. I'm very nostalgic for me. I love this belt. Ugh, okay, my favorite. One of my favorites. We will move to our number two. Brooke, please tell us
All
about
right.
your number two.
I'm gonna say 4 words. Thank you, Cody Rhodes. It's the White Strap Intercontinental title. What more do we have to say? We talked about it 3 times now. I'm just gonna say this, okay? When you go from a belt that was fine, I like the Oval 2002 2003 Intercontinental Championship. That belt was totally fine, okay? To this,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Which is the sleekest belt that has ever been on main roster WWE TV. It is somehow modern and classic at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Beautiful white strap. This is the first time they had done a white strap in ages, right? And I guarantee you, this is the reason they are still doing white straps today, because this white strap looks fantastic on this title. That gold is just so perfect because it's not shiny, big gold belt kind of gold, but it's also not like dirty, dirty, dirty bronze, right? It's like that gold that's just close to bronze enough that it's not fully the main roster, the main belt, but it's just enough to know that this belt is important.
Mm-hmm.
The blue detailing on the globe, we talked about that as too. That was a shout to the old Intercontinental belt that came before it. Love that too. Love the side plates. They don't detract from the center plate at all, and that's what a side plate is supposed to do. So thank you. This belt is perfection. I have no notes. None.
Y'all about to say you had a whole lot of notes, but
I know they're all
they're all
positive. No
great
no negative
positive.
notes.
Right.
Yes.
But since we talked about this belt 3 times now, I think we can move.
Yep, I agree.
One last time. Thank you, Cody Rhodes.
Thank you. Yeah,
Period.
yeah. You like that belt, right, guys? You like
Yeah, I
that belt?
think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you don't like wrestling. All right.
Right.
It's better than Universal title, like I said that much.
So, when I was talking about the 2013 Women's/Divas Championship, talking about a very important belt to me for wrestling, to me, this next belt to me is wrestling. When I think of wrestling, I think of my next belt, and that is Big Gold Belt. When I think of a championship, just off the top of my head, if someone goes, picture in your mind a WWE championship, I'm thinking Big Gold Belt every time. It to me is probably the most iconic. It's not my number one. My number one is for a different reason, but I think this is by far, if I'm going with like a mainline belt that everyone knows, everyone cares about. If I were competing, what belt would I want to hold? This would be the belt I'd want to hold. out of all time. It's just classic. It's iconic. It's over the top. It's too much in every way that I want it to be, and it makes you feel like a real champion for sure.
It's a great belt. We talked about it. It's a great. The
Yep.
detail in this belt is everything. It looks heavy. That's what I say about this belt. It looks heavy, but it's a great belt. So for me, my number two belt, I could not, in my right mind, not put this belt on my list. It is one of my favorite belts. I love this person with this belt, and I love this belt. I thought it was one of the best belts, and it just went. When a belt just makes sense with the
Yeah.
person that's holding the belt. This belt just made sense, and it is the glow belt from Naomi. I loved this belt because it just made sense with her. It made sense with her entrance. It made sense with her character. It just made sense. And the fact that she had what she had to do to get this belt to actually happen was insane crazy. Nobody knew that she went and had this belt sent away to get the lights put on the belt. She didn't tell WWE at time, and she just did it because she was like, I don't like having this belt coming out doing my entrance, and you don't see the belt until the lights come up. And she's like, "What's that's a waste of a belt?" And she did it. They didn't like it at first. They were not very pleased until they went and they actually saw what she did, and they were like, "Okay, this is the belt. This is now the belt." I said before I wanted the spinner belt. This is the belt I want. This is the belt I want. I want this belt so I can just be here in my house, just like, hey. I got a party in my house with my belt. This is what I want. And I just loved it. I love this belt so much. It's just one of my favorites. It didn't make my top one, but number one, but dang it, it was close. It was
Yeah, I'll
close.
tell you, this belt went completely over my head when I was thinking about it. And the moment that I saw this, Lana, I'm like, you're completely right. This is a fantastic belt. And I would have never, if you would have asked me, does a glow in the dark belt work? I would probably say no. I would have probably been a lot like WWE. But also, you have to appreciate, as I know you do, Lana, how this belt was done. Just the blue static with the vibrant rotating color patterns everywhere else makes it, and then you get the subtle, like, again, this copperish gold that I enjoy. It's just a fantastic belt.
And then she
I
got it in
too.
the wait. Oh, sorry. Then she got different levels of settings, so it can match her outfit. If she came out in the all neon green look, she'll just change the belt to the neon green
Mhm.
setting, and it's so. Oh, this belt was so good. Okay, I'm sorry, Brooke. I'm sorry.
Um, I too also regret not putting this on my list. I love this belt. Um, it is the only time that like old school design for the women's championship was ever like one of the ones I enjoyed because it just felt so personal. I love Naomi, Trinity, whoever we're calling her nowadays. Love her to pieces. Uh, and I eagerly await the day she does this to the Knockouts title in Impact, which she is currently holding like the
Mhm.
queen she is. Um,
This is a
all right,
great belt.
everybody.
All right, we
We're
are
at
here.
number
We're
one.
here,
We're
yeah.
here. We made it. This is our number one. So, Brooke, start us off.
All right. So in making this list, there were very few guarantees that I had. I knew a few belts that were going to be on here. I wasn't entirely sure the order, and there were just a few things that were not certain to me. However, the one thing that I knew from the jump was that this would be my number one title belt. Uh, it is the NXT UK Championship, as held by Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne, Gunther, Ilya Dragunov, and then Tyler Bate one more time. Those four men, five times, held this belt gorgeously. These long, meaty reigns with incredible matches over the most perfectly designed championship of all time. You can't even argue. To me, like, there are things you could say and be like, oh, well, I like this belt better, sure. But for what this is representing, right? Just, it is the UK coat of arms as the center plate. and it works so well. It is a black strap. I wish it was a white strap. I do think the white strap would make it just a tinge better. But like either way, it's perfection. Um, I love this belt so much. I am angry that it is no longer around. Thank you, Shawn Michaels. And yeah, this belt is great, immaculate, perfect, incredible.
Wes, what is
Yep.
yours?
But you know what I have to say to you, Brooke, and I agree for the most part. I think that this belt is fantastic. But I think the one thing that holds it back is why have one of this belt when you could have two of these belts at the same time,
No
and
nog.
that's what the NXT UK Tag Team Champions is for me, which is my favorite. Um, I think it's a little bit more circular. I enjoy it. I have always been, I like the arrows pointing into the championship, but I also kind of like it without, and the black. I think this is probably my favorite, and all of NXT UK is pretty much amazing in perfection. But I just enjoyed having two of these belts because they look so cool.
I couldn't
Yeah.
agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. But I am a selfish person, Wes. I understand needing more and having two belts and having the same thing. Me personally, I'm a selfish person. I don't work well in teams. I'm only good by myself. So therefore, my number one is the United Kingdom's NXT Championship belt. This belt
As it
is
should
so
be.
it's so beautiful. All three, all both of these belts, the tag team, the UK, the championship. It's they knew what they were doing when they made these belts. Period. Point blank. Bottom line. This is the most beautiful belt I've ever seen, and and this is the thing. And here's the thing: I never watched NXT UK or NXT at all. But when I was doing my research for this belt, this is the belt I was like, that stopped me in my tracks. I was like, hold up. This is beautiful. Like, this is art. You put this on a frame, on the wall, in the case. It's beautiful. I love this. I love this belt so much. It's just, ugh, ugh. I love it. My favorite belt. So I have to agree with Brooke on this one.
Yep, and it's
Hey, let's
completely
go.
respectable. Love this one too.
It's
I
so
mean,
great.
what we have seen today is one, yes, the three of us may live in a pro wrestling title belt echo chamber. That's okay.
It's true.
Because you know what? All three of us may have similar opinions, but that doesn't stop you from sharing your opinion in the comments. Tell us what your favorite title belts are. Uh, if it's WWE only, great. If you have a belt from, I don't know, Rev Pro that you really like, just shout it out in the comments. We'd love to hear from you guys.
I would love for you all to put your top 10 list in the comments. I would love to read all of the comments about what your top 10 lists are
Yep.
of belts.
And me personally, I promise I will read every comment that talks about the beauty of the Intercontinental 2013 belt. And you can also feel free to put thank you, Cody, in the comments because I know you guys are wrestling fans, which means you like that belt, which means you want to talk to me about that belt. And I agree with you guys. So, you have some great opinions down there. I know you guys enjoy probably some amazing belts and probably some belts I haven't even heard of. Brooke has some more deep takes. So you might have a harder time showing Brooke something that you've never seen before. But me and Lana are open if you guys want to share. It's really cool, and I'm glad that we could share our belts with you guys because these are amazing belts.
It's some great belts. And we know I love to hear your opinion on what you think other belts are great. But that's it for us. We are going to be back at some point in time to talk about more wrestling things. We'll do more top 10 lists coming up your way. I think we're thinking about themes. I don't know
And
the
if you
top
have a good
10.
idea for a theme that you really want to see us do, you can also leave that in the comment.
Leave that in the comment. Tell us what you want.
We're open
So
to ideas.
we're open. Check us out. Please follow us all on our socials at The Cup Pod, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the button. You're here. You love it. You enjoyed it. Hit the button, notification buttons, all of that stuff. Let us know that you support us. If you're listening to us on any audio platform, hit the buttons there. If you hit the dislike button, hit it twice. That's fine. Follow us if you just want to follow us on our Twitters or whatever. Get your cup merch at lanagcreations.etsy.com. All of that is in the description below. And yeah, that's it, y'all. We appreciate you watching.
We'll be back
Cheers.
at you guys on October 7th with our predictions for Fastlane. Woo, Fastlane!
Yeah, fast lane. Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
All right.
Bye.
See you
Bye.
later.
Have a good one.